All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November Lower Makefield Township Parks and Rec Committee. Our first order of business is roll call, and Rob Labar is to my left. On the line, we have Michael Blundy and Mike Brody, and our Township Liaison, James McCartney. And here also to my right is our Parks Director, Monica Tierney. Next order is the approval of the minutes from October 14th. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes? Rob makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mike Blundy makes a second. Any changes, comments to the meeting minutes? If none, we'll call a vote. All in favor of the approval of the October 14th meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor. I'm going to call an audible for tonight. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity, but last night the supervisors had their second budget meeting, and part of that discussion included both capital projects for Park and Rec, but more importantly, there was a healthy discussion around the pool fees for this upcoming season. So Monica's got some slides that she wants to share. That she presented last night. I think just before she gets started, I think we had some good discussions with the supervisors, and James, please chime in if I forgot anything, but I think we've kind of got in some direction strategically that we can be a little bit more aggressive in terms of our strategic approach to gain more members, and have a little bit of latitude on revenue generation. Not there isn't a huge tolerance from the Board of Supervisors in terms of how much less revenue, but I think they are on board to hear a plan back about generating more members and seeing the pool grow in terms of total membership. So Monica will take you through some information, some recommendations, either that she had previously presented to the board, and also some feedback that the board gave us last night. With the goal, hopefully tonight we can get some approval or at least guidance on where we want to head. If we can get to some nail down on fees, that would be great. I mean, the goal, obviously the budget has to be released by the township close to the end of the year. So they asked for things to get back to them, basically within the 19th of November, which is like 8 days. So
it would need to be before the 19th, the Friday before the 19th. So by the end of next week.
And the next week, thank you. In terms of us being aligned to what our approach is going to be. So that's kind of where we are. So I'm just going to call the audible. We're going to go through that first, and if time permits, we can cover other topics.
You got it. So before I even get started, I wanted to start by saying the pool is in a deficit. No matter which way we slice it, we've tried over the years are increasing by increasing fees and changing the structure of fees and many different things in order to try and get the pool to make enough money to even cover capital costs. And I think the reality is hitting that that's just not going to happen in the way that we slice the fees. So today I'm going to go over some of our, some of the data that I've been pulling over the last few years. I also sent you an email with some of the data that was requested by the board last night, just so you could be in the loop. Those were some of the questions they had. So I shared them with you ahead of this meeting. So if you haven't seen them in your email, they are in your email. I'm going to take you through the slides I showed yesterday. I might go through some things quicker with you because we've discussed some of these things before, or it's going to be presented just slightly differently than it was last night. So just to get started, I wanted to show you, most of you have been here long enough for this, and some of you are a little newer. But since 2021, after COVID, in 2021, we had a little bit of a peak of membership. Back then, we did family style registration, but I was able to break down the numbers to show you if we were doing a la carte so we can compare apples to apples. So at that time, we had 7,429 members. The following year, we recognized that we had a shortfall in our budget and that we were going to have to increase rates significantly because it had been something like 10 years since we had increased the fees. So we moved to this a la carte style. That was also in part because we know that today's family is a little different. You know, there are step parents, there are, you know, other family members living in the homes. There's all different makeups of families these days. So we changed to this a la carte style registration. And of course, anytime you change anything, there's a little dip the following year. So we had a little dip. The next year, in 2023, we had peak registration. That year, we had no increase in our fees. We hit 7,557 members, which was a great year. Then that's next year, we were challenged by the Board of Supervisors to come up with a pricing structure that covers our costs. We still weren't covering our costs. And you'll be able to see those costs year to year in the next slide. The park board decided to increase the rates by 9% and remove the discount period. And that next year, we lost, in 2024, we lost a lot of members. You can see we went from 7,500 to 6,200 members. So that was a significant drop. And then this year, again, we increased slightly in 2025, and then we had a little more of a drop in membership. So I just wanted to go over that year over year so you can see what we were doing and how we were trying to regroup. But you'll see here, we did still increase our revenue. Even though we had a drop in membership, we still were able to increase our membership year over year with that peak in 2024 with that 9% increase, even though we lost so many members. And then we still are much higher than we were in 2021, over $100,000 more with our income this presentation focuses solely on membership as it's about 80% of our budget. So finding that that's one of the more important revenue streams. Does anybody have any questions about these first two slides before I move on? And then I just wanted to show, you know, there's been comments. There are so many more residents than there used to be, or there's been these severe changes and it's all non-residents. And I think you can see from this that it hasn't changed that much. There's been a slight shift, but it's not that significant. What I can tell you year over year, when the resident numbers dropped, so did the non-resident memberships, and vice versa. When they were peaked, they all peaked together and they just stayed together. But this slight increase in non-residents, even with the hikes, might show that the non-residents are seeing a little more value in the pool as the prices raise. But I also think we're kind of hitting that price bubble. You're seeing that drop off, significant drop off. So we talked about this last week, so I'm not going to really go over this slide. It's the same thing you saw last meeting about preseason when we talked about Pennsbury, and that, and the next slide is the same, or well, maybe not just the next slide. This talks about over the past 5 years, how memberships have changed. So we saw a 35% decline in the 14 to 61 age category over this time. And I think that's due to some of the pricing structure. We're finding now that families are paying for maybe one adult versus 2 adults because the adult membership is the most expensive to try and cut costs or whatever. We're seeing a lot less family oriented participation. Sometimes families will just pay a visitor pass for that day and for whatever family member doesn't go the most. So that's something that we saw drop off. The good news is our seniors, this group doubled at first and then plateaued in a nice sweet spot. And I think changing to that a la carte really helped them, because for them to get a senior membership, it was very limited, as after 3 o'clock. It was discounted, but you can only come in after 3, you know, it was very modified. So I think this a la carte pricing really helped them out. Our 6 to 13 age group also is remaining stable, has not changed that much in the last 5 years. And then teen participation is dropping off, and I think that's in part to do with that individual drop off or that family decision making that people are making. You know, our younger kids are probably going to go all the time. We'll get them membership. Our teens are not going to go. So those are some of the things we're seeing there as far as families go. We talked about this last time, so I'm not going to cover this slide. Same for this slide. Oh boy. Last time the board, when we were talking, we talked about hours, and this slide shows what it actually will look like if we do not open on weekdays during the school year. We have a 15-week season. You can see in red, 1, 2, 3, and 15 are not open on the weekends. On holidays, we'll be open 10 to 6. For the prom, we'll close at 2. And during the bulk of the year, we'll change our hours slightly, expand back into that 9 p.m. for Fridays and Saturdays. So I just wanted to kind of run this by you. You'll see running no weekdays during the school year would save us $23,000. I was able to kind of pare that down a little bit after our meeting the other day. And then also this year, by closing at 8 versus 9, we were able to save $31,310 just in staff costs alone. So that was a little bit of a cost savings we were able to make this year.
So those are those two separate figures?
2 separate figures,
So
yeah.
a total of 50-some thousand if both were implemented?
If both were implemented, but you'd have to also subtract that 5,508 if we extend to 9 on Fridays and Saturdays. So we're seeing a little bit of a challenge here. We have to balance our service level and our member value. We saw we were reading that pricing bubble, but also we're not meeting the needs, like our financial stability is not great. Our budget is in the negative and it only gets worse. We're starting negative $206 or $206,000 negative dollars as our cash balance at the beginning of the year this year. So that's expected to be negative 280, I believe it's 286,000 in the negative at the end of this year if we just move forward the way that we're moving. So some of the things that I'm recommending for pricing, and we talked a little bit about this last time, but I'm going to show you a little bit more information to help some of the decision making. I recommend, because we are reducing somewhat, that we maintain resident rates and no increase recommended for there. For non-residents, I recommend that maybe a slight increase there as their perceived value is still high, whereas our residents are, struggling. We talked a little bit about an early registration discount. One of our big problems being in the negative the way we are is a lot of our work and a lot of our spending happens early in the year from January until we open. And without that early cash flow from a discount period, we have no money in the bank to spend, and we're just borrowing from the general fund until we can, pay it back when we get revenue dollars, and we're still not making ends meet. So by having an early rush of cash to be able to spend to prep the pool, a discount period could be very beneficial for us. We're looking instead, what our discount period used to be like January, February. I'm looking to do it as soon as we can get it approved, hopefully in November. That following week, posting it for, say, Black Friday, and selling memberships as holiday gifts until all the way until January 15th, shutting that down. We're also looking at instituting a family cap. I think we've lost a lot of larger families, and we'll talk a little bit more about what a family cap would look like. And even the possibility of gift options like T-shirts and towels around the holiday season while people are buying their gifts for their families. Just to get a visual on last year's fees, you can see we did offer a discount period, but it was only 2024 fees, which if you can see is only a couple dollars difference. So people, it was almost like laughable when people say, what kind of discount is this? You know, $2 is, you know, so that was not very effective last year. I'll just give you a second with those numbers so you get to take a look at them. So when we're talking about family caps, I did send you an email that expands the family caps all the way up to $500. This picture kind of shows you how many families are impacted based on the number that we decide to cap a family out for residents. So if you see here, for a $600 cap would affect 346 families. It would also cost the township, or it would be, you know, reduction of fees for us if we kept at 600 of $25,054. And you'll see in the email I sent you a chart that shows from caps from 500 to 750 for residents and caps from 800 to 1,100 for non-residents, and how much of a loss in revenue that would be, but also could be a gain. So on the other side of that, there's probably people who maybe, if we cap it at 600, maybe they're paying 500 now, but they're cutting a couple family members off so they don't have to pay more. Maybe they'll put a couple family members to reach the cap. So there's some, it's a little bit of a risk, to be honest, but I think it also brings back that community feel that's kind of been lacking. So these are the numbers for a resident cap. And then here's the numbers for a non-resident cap and the impacted families. So just kind of wrapping everything up, we do have, we talked about the operational constraints last time, and we went over a few membership trends. Our big things that we need to talk about is our fees for next year in preparation for this meeting on the 19th. You know, what does the board feel about a cap? What kind of discount are you open to doing for the preseason sales? Are you willing to do a discount period for preseason sales? What are your thoughts? Interested to hear what the board is open to doing. And does anybody have any questions for me?
I'll open it up to anybody, two mics on the line. Oh.
What if we what if we did, instead of an early sign up, you a recommendation? So you'd have to recommend a new member, but wouldn't there be real value in actually recommending a new member, where you could almost give a bigger percentage?
Like, do you mean like, you know, for every new member you bring in, you get a, you know, you get a $25 off or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I know when I went to summer camp, which was always a good chunk of change. They definitely had you essentially would get a 10%, so like a 10% prize for, you know, like a $250 prize for each, you know, kid that you brought into camp. But if we're trying to grow membership and we're trying to, like, you know, I would still do an early discount. I'm not actually opposed to an early discount. It's just as a side note.
So we'll just, you're looking at a referral fee. So something like, hey, new family gets 25 in addition to the discount, and the referral family gets 25, or
Something like that.
something, or get 25 off your snack stand purchase, or get a free guest ticket or something to give something and reward the new family and the existing family, right?
Something, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Is this a trend that's nationwide, that pool memberships are down, or are we an oddity? Like, I feel like we've been doing this ever since I've been on the board, like horse trading, trying to figure out, like, hey, let's do this year, let's do that next year, let's try and do this. The bottom line from what I'm seeing is we've never had a budget that pays for all the upkeep, maintenance, and the costs that go into going with a pool. So in my mind, the question should be for, I guess, the supervisors or us, like, is it always going to be a worthwhile and not a worthwhile endeavor? Are we always going to be, sinking ship here? And at what point do we cut our losses?
That is part of the discussion. Good question. I mean, pools are expensive and, the weather every year, they're weather dependent. And it's hard to make ends meet for a pool,
But
to
it's
be
nationwide, is that
nation,
like our
yeah.
numbers down for pool membership? Or-
I think it's an always thing, pools are expensive, their upkeep is expensive. I think people are getting rid of pools. You can see it locally. Middletown got rid of their pool, Lower Southampton got rid of their pool in the last 5 years. Those two pools, they're closed.
So what you'll see is whether it's the Y or the NAC, it's not pool only, right? They have
Mhm.
other components, so
Yeah.
either, whether they can move,
like-
but as somebody said last night, the two best days for pool are like your boat, like the day you get it and the day you
Yeah,
get rid
well,
of it. So,
Yeah.
that's why,
but it's an asset.
I'm more than welcome to have the discussion every year here and
Mhm.
kind of banter around like, what's gonna get us membership, but like, it seems like whatever we do one year, doesn't translate to the next year. So if the supervisors want us to have a community pool or the community wants us to have a community pool, then I think we need to go in eyes wide open that this is what it's going to cost on a yearly basis with maintenance and everything like that, whether it comes from fees, whether it comes from taxpayer dollars in the general budget. But I'm honestly sick of sitting here trying to figure out how to make ends meet when I think it's a fruitless operation if that's the case.
Yeah, that was part of the budget, the discussion yesterday. Rob, is, a lot of the other municipalities, when the pools fall short, it's an amenity that they want. So they offset it with other, fees. For instance, Falls Township, they have the landfill fees. If they don't make ends meet that year, the landfill fees help fill in the gaps when they have a rough year. We have been trying over the years to make our fees cover the costs, but the truth is the pool is old. There's a lot of infrastructure improvements that we have. So maybe even if it's a slight millage increase to the Park and Rec Fund, we encourage membership for residents so that millage is actually going towards residents, where we make it a little bit more, we make some of these discounts more beneficial to residents, that their taxpayer dollars are coming back to them, you know what I mean? But those are some of the discussion points that we were talking about yesterday with the board. I think the Board of Supervisors is probably going to have to make a decision on which route they want to
But
go.
right now, that's not on the docket for today. For us is to determine the fees for next year. The Board of Supervisors have not made a decision that they are closing the pool.
That's my frustration.
But
We're putting the cart before the horse. Like, they're asking us to do things that I feel like we've done this every year since I've been on the board. And I'm
Well, I
personally
mean-
frustrated because I don't think we're getting anywhere. And
Well, we lost a lot of members because the board told us we needed to raise prices and generate revenue. And now they've come back and said, hey, we need to reverse that and be more aggressive in obtaining more members. And so that's what we're tasked to do today, is to try to figure out ways to drive more membership. And at some point, if they come back and they say, we're not willing to continue down this path anymore, then they'll make that decision. But I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, they have to make a decision capital wise. Like, there's members of the pool are not going to fund capital improvements to the tune of X, Y, and Z for things that need to be replaced. Now, if we can cover general operating expenses, that would be the goal.
general operating expenses, like, we haven't done it for 30 plus years. So like, we paid $500,000 for the, one thing the 1 year, and then $500,000 for the next year. Those were investments that should have been accruing over the life of the pool that weren't. So all these people that were using the pool 30 years ago never had to pay that. And so now the check is coming due or whatever, and we're stuck having to make this decision. And I don't think we're a Park and Rec board. Like, we want to, create a good atmosphere for Park and Recs and have different things or whatever, but there should be parameters that the supervisors are saying, like, hey, we want a pool. We've decided this is.
That's what they said last night. They said they
And-
want us to generate membership. They didn't say we're closing the pool. They didn't ask us to if you want to make a recommendation, go back to the board and say, we don't want fees for next year. We think you should just close the pool. Then you can make that recommendation, but that's not what was asked last
Or
night.
put
so.
funds in play. I mean, I feel like we're just spinning our wheels, and I just need to say that, so.
So Doug, what we're going to do tonight is just, should we have a discount, an early registration discount? And should we have a family cap membership? And then what would that be? That's what we're trying to figure out for tonight.
I'm okay voting for that, but
That's
then
correct.
we're gonna be back here next year doing the exact opposite, saying, all right, we're not gonna have a discount fee because we didn't make enough money this past year. When everybody on this board knows that sat here that we're not going to make enough money to make the pool work. So either we're always in the red and it's got to come out of the general budget, or the supervisor needs to say something. So that's
I think
all I
you-
want to say.
Doug,
I
can
think you made your point. I think you made your point, Rob. I think though, from my point of view, we definitely should do a discount. I don't like the early discount because I think that forces people into doing something, and I don't want to force anybody. I want to give them a benefit. And then plus it's forced them at a time of year that, they're focused on other things rather than the summer. They're focused on, Christmas and Hanukkah dinners and gifts and whatnot. And, they're not really focused on, what they're going to do in the summer. So I don't, if we want to open it up for November, that, nothing wrong with that. But I think you should leave it out there at least till, March 1st is typically when it used to be the last day for it. I remember that because on March 2nd, I remember March 1st was the discount. So, I'm good with the discount. And then for the family cap, Mike, I'm not following your slides. You gave 600, 650, 700. Are you suggesting a sliding scale, or just this is what it would be at 600, this is what it would be at 700?
It's options.
Yeah, what the slide I think depicted was based on how many families signed up previously. If we capped them at $600, how many families that signed up last year would be impacted by that 600 and would see a benefit? If it was up to 700, then less families would based on the a la carte pricing. So
Well,
James,
a family of four would pay what?
depends on the family size, right, and ages, right? So if it's under 14 and there's so many people, right? So it could vary based on the age of the
So
family.
let's take a case where I think it would be helpful if here's a typical family. There's 4 people in it.
Yeah, so if you looked at full price, let's say you had individuals, resident. So if you had,
So mom and dad are going to be, in the 214
Right,
range,
so you're at
right?
420, yes, you're at 428, and then if you
Two-
had two kids that are age 6 to 13, that's another 200, so you're a little over $600 there.
So I think like 500 needs to be, that where we look at.
Yeah, it's if it's four, obviously, if it's a 5-person family, that would be even a bigger discount. Monica had the numbers in terms of impacted families, right?
Yeah, that was, I did send it out in an email for you to
Right.
see too. So for 500, there's 1,500 total family. That could be an individual that's from one households. So there's 1,500 individual households that are residents. Of those, 540 families in 2025 paid over $500.
3 people.
One third of the membership
So,
families.
so 500 families
Mhm.
paid $500 or more for the pool.
Yeah, but 540, but yes.
So that's, that's a mom and dad and one kid.
Yeah, it could be any variation of things. Anything, I would say to over four members of the family. Anybody of, not all situations, but around 4 members of the family or higher would be around 500.
Well, two parents were
Mm-hmm.
428. And then if you have under 13 and under, it's $100 roughly, right? So
Yeah, unless they have 2 5 and unders, then that'd be just
bill
144.
150.
It'd still be over the $500,
Mhm.
unless somebody
Yeah.
last year just did like 1 parent and 2 kids.
Yeah, so it actually could be impacting even more than 500, being that people will probably register more people.
Right. I mean, that's my point.
Yeah,
So how many of do we know how many of of that 500 and some families, you said they paid more than 540, or that was the average?
they paid more than 500. 540 families paid more than $500 last year.
Right.
Of residents. That's
and then you-
residents only.
And then you've broken that down even more, right? Like,
I know how much each family paid. I
Okay.
mean, how, it depends on how minute you want to.
and you know how many family members they paid
That
for,
I can't, that I don't know. I can't tell you.
but you know what they paid. You just don't know how many family members there are.
Yeah, it doesn't say that in the report.
And
James, do you have a question? You want to go ahead and?
I do, yeah. I mean, I always love listening to the banter back and forth. To Rob's point, yeah, he's absolutely correct. I think that the spinning of this data year in and year out for you guys is incredibly frustrating because it ends up at the same result, right? So one of the recommendations you can make as a board is, hey, maybe we should raise millage on Park and Rec in order to, alleviate this issue rather than trying to figure out the numbers that you're giving, Monica. Like, what's the margin of error on these numbers, right? Like, I don't think you're an actuary. Is anybody qualified to actually give us specific data that's going to result in a break even? Because I don't think we've ever been able to do that, right?
I mean, when you guys asked us to raise the rates back in
24.
2024, I submitted a letter to the board asking them to raise the park millage, and that didn't happen.
But I mean, if that's again, if that's something that the board thinks that, right now what's the total deficit of the pool, Monica? something?
Projected for end of 26, 280,000
And what did we carry from last year?
to over, a little over 200,000.
So, I mean, it's pretty consistent. We're going to be short $200,000 to $250,000 per year on the pool. So, you know, if the recommendation of the, and again, I never interject in these meetings because it's really for you guys to give us, you know, feedback on what your thoughts are. But if you think that raising the park millage, you know, a half mil or even a mil, which gets you, you know, 500,000 to carry the pool at least for the next couple years, and if what happens then is that residents then can talk to their representatives and say, hey, why are my park and rec taxes going up? And the representative can say it's because the pool's, you know, bleeding money year after year. And then we can make a decision, or future boards can make an educated decision on whether or not keeping the pool open is worth it, right? Like, at least that way we can stop going through this exercise ad nauseum, which results in no success. I mean, we've never been able to get it right. Like, I'm not an actuary. I don't know exactly what all that data, how to put all that data into something and say, this is the perfect number for Lower Makefield. This is exactly how many residents are going to sign up at this number. We're going to break even. I don't think that the math is there, to Rob's point. So if the recommendation is to increase the millage for park and rec, then that's the recommendation. If the recommendation is to close the pool, then that's the recommendation. But to go through this exercise year in and year out, I think next year it's going to be the same thing. They're going to come back and say, well, we raised them too high, or they're too low, or, you know, that's just my initial thought on it.
My take on James's thought would be, we're not actuaries, so we should be coming up with how many people do we think we want in the pool. If that answer is like 7,000, then we, to whatever extent, are lower the fee to try to get back to where that 7,000 membership is, and we ask for and we, you know, promote a rate increase to get the rest.
But Mike, to that point, were we short even when we had 7,000 people?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, James, absolutely. My point being, our job as the Park and Rec Board is, what would we like to see from like, in an ideal world, how would it like to look? And then if the financials don't make sense and we just can't do it, then that's where the Board of Supervisors says financially that doesn't work. That rate increase doesn't work, and we don't make that move. But
I think we're there. I think that's the issue, that we're all banging our head against this wall to say, how do we make this work? How do we? But you know, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't, or maybe it does through a millage increase. Again, a 1 mil millage increase in Park and Rec equates to what, $50 per household, Monica? Is that about right?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
So $50 per household. Most people aren't going to, you know, it's $4 a month, right? So it's not going to change people's lives. But I think if you continually do that, what it also offers is transparency, because you can say this specific fund, which is the pool fund, is inefficient to continue to have the pool. Do we want to continue to have the pool? And then residents can make a decision to say, we want it or we don't want it. But if you want it, your taxes are going to go up $50 every year to cover the pool. I mean, that's the only way that it works.
Makes sense.
So I would propose we keep the fees as they are. Let's stop doing this little cap thing and for families, because this is exactly what we did last year. We did the a la carte thing with the anticipation that it would increase membership, and it didn't. I have no problem if we want to do the early bird thing, if there's a thought that will bring in people that we didn't have, plus get you some money up front that will pay for some of the expenses. But I think if we keep tinkering and doing all this stuff for every demographic that we try and say, all right, well, let's do this because the seniors are being unfairly doing, there's usually only 1 or 2 in a household and they're paying more than a 4-person household or whatever. That whole discussion was the last couple years, and it seems like we met a sweet spot with the seniors, but nothing with the other families. So if we tinker with something else, then I think we're going to lose that thing. So we're not comparing each data year the same, except for the fact that we keep losing members. So if the bottom line, and I'll go back to it, is we weren't making enough money to make the pool, work. So why tinker with it? Let's keep the fees as they are and ask for the millage and put this on the supervisors.
I don't agree with that. I'd rather have the family discount or family cap, if you will, because this a la carte menu unfairly penalizes large families. We started it 4 years ago, and I don't think it's right. I think that you take a typical family of four and whatever that comes to, and then if that's $540, and then you just cap it at that. And if there's more people that join, that'd be great. And then, if I'm a taxpayer and I'm subsidizing the pool, I would expect to not to have to pay, $1,000 for a pool membership and also pay, my taxes towards it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we keep the fees the same, and we want to vote on that. We can vote on that. If you want to make another motion, let's move this forward. This is circuitous.
Yeah,
We have a motion. Does anybody want to second it?
Monica, what was the preference that you were bringing to the meeting today? To do some degree of a rate cut? Because if I heard what you were saying correctly at the beginning of the meeting, the board's number one goal is to have more people for this year, not necessarily for us to be worrying about budgeting.
Well, I asked them if, based on their strategic direction, and James, since you were there online as well, if our direction should be to drive membership with not as much focus on revenue generation. So there was a nod and agreement, but within tolerance, right? So they were not saying,
Yep.
hey, we're not going to lose a lot of money, but we want to err on more on the side of generating members. So if our fee structure or whatever we want to bring back to the board was in terms of trying to generate and grow our membership base. And if we fail at that, I don't disagree with Rob or with James at all that says that this pool in the township isn't going to be an attractive activity for taxpayers and residents anymore. But it sounded like they wanted to make another effort at, restructuring the fees to try to gain new members.
So I mean, for me, I'd be fine to try to adjust the fee, recognizing that I agree with Rob and James that we should figure out the next step. If that can't happen today, then I'm not sure that happens today. So since that probably doesn't happen today, to me, you do play the game and you do try to make that slight adjustment. But I'd be more than willing to, put together a vote for, some degree of, either raise a fee or, give us guidance on what our next step should be. for that next, so we can move forward on a real plan.
Well, we had one motion on the table to leave the rates as is. Nobody had seconded. So we'll need to make another motion then for regarding the fee structure. I think do we have some agreement on a family discount or family flat rate cap, however you want to call it?
Monica, what were you suggesting? Or were you not making even a suggestion?
I mean, I was putting everything in front of you for you to, I mean, the truth is, sure, we might be able, it's a risk, right? We don't know if it'll cover operational costs. We keep doing this every year.
Nope.
Rob
Yeah, I'm
is
not worried
insane.
about the risk. It's
I figure I would put everything in front of you to, I think the reason the family cap came up was more about that affordability of the family and that people are, leaving out family members to come to the pool.
Yeah.
It was more of a community-based decision-making than a revenue generating decision-making. Recognizing that we've reached a bubble after we raised the rates 9% that in 2024, actually with a la carte, we were successful, right? We had 7,500 members first year. But then we got to a point where the a la carte became too expensive. We reached a bubble. So that's kind of where the family idea, I don't know that was necessarily a way to solve all the problems of the pool other than that.
I mean, if you do straight math and you say, if you can get an incremental 500 families at $500, you'll generate $250,000, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's straight math, right? So if you can get, now that adds up to quite a bit of members. If the average family is 4, you're going to add 2,000 members. Now, I don't know if that's going to be successful, but that could be your goal, and say, we've got to deliver 500 incremental families or 2,000 net.
But nothing in these
Yeah.
numbers or statistics show us that any of that's going to happen.
No, but
Yeah, there's no way.
that's our point. We don't have any,
Mhm.
we're not actuaries. I don't know elasticities. I don't know that says for every 10% drop, we're going to have 10% more. But
And to
When
be,
Middletown closed their pool, it's not, and we don't want necessarily to, bring in non-residents. That seems to be a reoccurring thing, that there's, an opposition to that. So where are we getting these new members from? Is it going to be outside the township, inside the township? I don't see any of the statistics saying one thing or the other. All I see is this is another, let's try and figure out something without any data to support it, and nothing has occurred in the last couple years, other than us raising some revenues, because that's what the supervisors wanted us to do. So we did our job there, and it's still not enough to pay for the pool.
But we can't solve that with this conversation. So it's like, so we can keep having a conversation, like we're tasked with approving a fee. So
And
we
we were
have
asked to
to,
approve a fee, and we did that last year,
well, we do that every year.
and
Right, we have to do
increased
that
every year.
the revenue.
Every year we
But that wasn't enough. So now they
We
want
do
us
it.
to increase,
Mhm.
keep the revenue and then increase the people coming to the pool. And all I've seen over the 5 years that we have tried to fluctuate with different things is whatever we try with one task here ends up lowering the membership or doing something else with another thing that we don't have the statistics before us.
Yeah, but again, I think to the point is that our task tonight is, we set fees every year for the pool. For every 10 years I've been on here, or 15 years on the board, that our job to set the fees schedule. Unless the 1 year with board said generate more revenue, then we were tasked to do that. But until I think the board says that we're not going to maintain this pool is not viable and we're going to shut it down. We can make a recommendation, but I think it's still tonight is our job, is we have to set the fees for next
I
operating
ask you,
season.
Monica,
So
with the current fee structure, have we gotten an onslaught of complaints from people and families? And if so, how many have complained that it's too expensive and they're leaving?
We have gotten some feedback. I think the feedback is really in the registration, right? Registration dropped by 1,300 people in a year, the year that we raised the rates, right? So we're seeing more families that's just the mom or just the dad on memberships. I wish I had better data. You know, I have limited resources here. I wish I could give you everything to make all these decisions easy, but I don't, you know. I'm working on a Lower Makefield Township budget, not a corporate budget. But you know, you're right. You know, some of these decisions have to be made blindly, and we also need to decide: are we keeping this pool? And if we are, is it a valuable asset enough to, you know, increase millage? So those are some of the discussions.
Is that really our decision, though? If we're, you know, are we really going to say, let's get rid of the pool? Like that?
well, we can always make that recommendation if the guidance says that, you know, from an operating expense, that we don't feel it's viable to continue and make that recommendation. Oh, but we don't have the D on that, right? The Board of Supers can make the D, but in November here, I'm not sure that's a prudent decision to say we're not going to reopen in the
I would say-
summertime, but I would say that if come next May and we don't have numbers that are sustainable, then, you know, that would definitely be a conversation to have.
So I think like two things I'm thinking is that the operational budget, which to me isn't capital stuff. It's like you hire your lifeguards and you hire your, you know, your managers, and then are you able to pay them? Are you able to fill the pool up with water? Are you able to buy the chemicals to, you know, keep the pool safe? Like, to me, that's the operational. Can you have the electricity, you know, to run the lights and the heaters and whatnot? Like, that's the operational stuff. And I think, you know, that we definitely cover that. I think.
We don't.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't.
That's what I'm saying now, is we don't cover those operational expenses.
So this has got nothing to do with like a new heater, like the $200,000 that we're in the hole. That's because we're paying, you know, too much for, you know, the lifeguards and the pool supplies, and it's got nothing to do with the capital stuff.
That has nothing to do with the capital stuff. That's just operations.
So what did we pay in payroll last year for the pool?
What did we pay for?
What did we pay in payroll? What was the payroll for the pool last year?
The payroll offhand. Hold on, I have to go take a look at the budget here. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000. Also, you know, you have to understand, some of our administrators are coming out of payroll too. So, for instance, we have a membership coordinator, 100% of her salary comes out of the pool. Not 100, 75%. Some of my salary comes out of the pool. You know, some of our admin staff come out of the pool too.
The other 400,000 is what is that?
Also some of the maintenance staff, public works staff that work on the pool, that comes out of the pool. And then the rest is just summertime staff.
Well, payroll is 500,000 roughly, and we had 900,000 in income, and the other 400. So where's the other 400,000?
We have more than 900,000 in income.
Okay. So
That's
what's
just
payroll?
membership. All we've been discussing is membership income right now. Sorry, I'm trying to, the format of the budget just changed, so I'm trying to figure out where everything is. So salaries and wages in 2025 were 555,858. That's projected.
It's another $400,000 of revenue. Roughly. And where does that money go?
It goes towards salary. It goes
Well-
towards, electrical, all of our regular bills, our recurring bills. It goes towards some of our insurances that we have, our credit card fees, trainings and meetings, overtime, uniforms, workers' compensation, health insurance.
Payroll, I mean, you said it was 550,
Yeah.
and that should include, some of the things that you're mentioning in 400,000.
I think I'm losing you. I mean, I think I'm lost in what you're asking me at this point. It is all of our operational costs is equal the amount that we are at, including the negative. We've been trying to do cost saving measures. Last year or the last 2 years, we didn't buy any new furniture. Usually that's an annual expense as part of.
What's the
operation.
total?
I mean,
this
I'd
year,
like to see
2025
that.
Operating expense was how much, according to the
The
last,
2025
Right.
operating expense
right now?
was 1,153,131.
Okay, roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
And then on your chart, there was 900.
That's just membership
How
revenue.
much was that then?
Okay.
What was the number again?
I'm sorry, I have to go back and look.
Yeah, that's all right.
Isn't all the revenue membership?
No,
No.
there's guest fees, guest booklets, swim lessons.
And that's not included in the 900?
No, we were only talking about membership today.
So between
We have,
Operating
we
expense.
charge the swim team, we charge summer camp.
there's a $90,000 gap from the revenue, and I don't know what else they brought in, right? So it
Mhm.
was 1.153, took 963 in membership, that leaves 90. That's 200, like 180,000, right? Roughly 190,000 gap, right?
Right.
And then I don't know what else you have.
And then some of that gap is also so that I said our starting cash is that negative 200,000. So deduct that at the end of 2026 to 80,000 would be added to that, right? So then it's 280.
Right, I'm just saying the gap
Yeah.
from last year's operating was 190.
Yeah, about.
And none of that was
200,000 or so.
like repairs or what?
There is general repairs and maintenance. So every year our pool painting, that's an annual expense. That's
Right.
part of our operations. So we consider that part of our operations, not as a capital improvement. That's a little more expensive. That was around I believe $25,000. That's an every year expense.
Right,
Ma-
I mean, like I said, I'll still go back to,
Yeah.
Michael, for 2023, what was special about the pricing that we had high members and high revenue?
I think there was some general excitement.
well, that was
Was that-
post-COVID, so everybody was able to get outside again.
Yeah.
So I think people were back to happy to go do things and weren't kind of contained in their home. So that might be an anomaly where because you picked up close to 600, like 2021 to 22, the à la carte membership dropped by 500, but then, I don't know, post-COVID, you had, a surge.
We did have a surge. There was a lot of excitement, especially among the seniors. We had a lot of seniors sign up that year in particular because their rates were better for seniors. It was just better for them. But, I can't really name that.
I mean, even to get to an incremental 500 households.
All right, I'm just gonna propose. I'm just gonna propose. And can you go to the cap page where it showed the houses and the caps, the Monopoly looking page?
Yeah. It's fun to call it the Monopoly page.
Yeah, well, it's like because
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is
Uh,
residents.
and each, 300, okay. And how many families are members of the pool?
Resident families is 1,500.
All right, so I'll propose that we keep rates the same with the $600 cap for family. And then just so Rob knows, I'll be making a second recommendation that we're looking for. We want to know what our next steps should be to either have to initiate a conversation on a 1% rate increase or close the pool. What do we need to do to really start that conversation? Because we're playing Monopoly to try to fill the pool right now. And so like, that's a waste of all of our time.
So can you just make a motion on the fees?
Yeah, my motion would be to mirror the same, keep fees the same as last year, with but add a $600 cap per family.
Do you want to do anything with your referral fee, referral
I
recommendation?
would bring back the discount fee window. I would Monica, I think she said wanted 2 months, so I would do a discount window till the end of the year. And then you could probably end up giving a bonus of an extra week if you wanted to just do something into the next year. And then I think you should do a referral fee. So we'll do a referral fee for any new family that wasn't a pool member last year that you refer. You get $25 off.
I mean, Monica, you're going to be able to track that?
I don't know how I'm going to track it, but I'm sure we could figure it out. And it would have to be a referral that's a success, right? Someone actually signed up.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah.
And, so what if they say like, well, I'm signing up John Smith, even though, 3 of the siblings were members last year.
It's got to be new family,
New families.
A new family, so not just a new person. It's
new family.
so can't be
not-
part of the
Nobody was a member
1,500.
before. Yeah.
Can't be part of the 1,500.
No, not a member last year, period.
I think I feel strongly that you need to have the discount, through March 1st. That, it won't, I don't think it'll be effective. And the rationale that like we're negative in the budget, so the general fund has got to support the pool. I think the general fund's got to support the pool for the next, until membership comes in.
All right. Well, I'm going to adjust the motion, and then I think somebody needs to second it, and then we have to have discussion and then vote on it. I'll adjust it to say going from November until Park and Rec supervisor Monica, until Monica deems it's appropriate to end it. I don't want to leave it open for 5 months just to leave it open for 5 months. If we have enough money and we don't need to keep it open, close it. I don't need to hold on to some, because that's how we used to do
Well,
it.
I mean,
Well,
the discount period, Mike's got to be communicated to the residents so they know a start date and an end date, or really the end date. They
Cool.
can't just turn it off and say, we've hit our income level, sorry, discounts.
And it was effective, Mike. It was effective. And when we got rid of it, that it was, not effective.
Cool. So does somebody want to second it? I mean,
I'll second
Yeah.
it.
Well, let me read it back. So Mike Brody proposes that a la carte rates remain the same for the pool season for 2026, with the exception of a new family cap of $600. There'll be a 10% discount window. You didn't say the discount, but I'm going to put this
Thank you.
10% discount window. I'm just going to put it in for now through March 2nd. And in addition, there will be a new referral fee for any existing family that refers a new family to sign up. Both will receive a $25 discount to their membership upon both families signing up.
If you start signups right now and then you have a discount period that goes for 5 months, what is the motivation? Why would I sign up now?
Well, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't, you'd sign up before March 2nd. So it doesn't really matter when it opens. It's just getting it before.
But that
We can
it
change
defeats the
date.
purpose.
Really, the
Well,
end
it-
date that matters. So
It-
All right,
it's
so
the-
I'm gonna since it's my motion, I'm gonna make it the end of January. So January 31st. It doesn't make sense to go to March. I think the point of this is we were trying to get money now, not in March.
Well, I guess the point that I would counter with is that, doing it now, people aren't going to, invest $600 in a membership now because they're focused on other things. And that, if it were available to them, February, they would, and they have in the past. Like it was effective. And, when we stopped it, people didn't sign up. In fact, we had issues because, people signed up and then they wanted their money back because there wasn't really a benefit for them for us to have their money. Right, Monica?
Yeah, when we lost the discount period, people would sign up, and when they realized there was no discount, they would take their money out and wait until the season started or not come back at all.
I mean, the general
what's your
fund
preference?
is going to support they'll have to support the pool for, until membership starts coming in. I wouldn't want to make this not effective by people not joining. Well, because of, that 2-month issue where, things, general fund's got to carry the pool. So
Monica, when does the summer camp sign up start?
It usually starts a month after the pool. So pool starts end of January, summer camp would start early March, end of February.
I think the most user friendly sign up is, if you don't want to do March 1st, do February 15th or, but the most user friendly thing would be for March 1st. And that has worked in the past. I mean, the fund of the pool for, now until when membership starts coming in, I mean, that's, I don't think that's an us problem or our problem. I think that's, that we want to have the most people sign up as we can. And I think the most user friendly thing for that would be to, have a discount period that, is reasonable for when they're going to outlay the money.
So before we continue on, can we either modify the motion or someone second the motion so then we can discuss it and make any changes? Right now, we just have a motion.
I'll second the motion and then
Okay.
I'll just, I think the senior fee at $100 $100, which is like $1 a day. Well, it'll be less than that, or more than that. If
You want to be at the
if you can't use the pool for those couple weeks, but I think 125 would be probably a fair number.
So so the motion was no changes to the full price, or now are you just trying to round up the numbers to?
Well, the motion, so I second the motion because now we can discuss it. So my input would be the senior fee, full price is $102. And, $102. So, I think that's relatively cheap. And if it were 125, I don't know that we'd lose any seniors. So that would be the only change I would have to the structure.
Well, I'm just doing math here. I mean, I wouldn't like to see them see an increase.
I don't see any
So,
philosophical
I mean,
reason.
you could take it to 115 and to give them a 10% discount, so they're still paying pretty much what they were paying.
I don't
last
see
year.
any. What's the benefit of giving any sort of increase without guidance on how we're going to answer the long-term implications and long-term financial plan? We should, if we're losing money, no matter what, we're losing money this year. All we should be trying to do is accommodate a group that we think we shouldn't be trying to make more off one group. We don't have enough data. So if like we need to, yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, Monica,
Well, if you don't change any of the rates, like again, anybody that's on a full price here, except, so anybody that's an individual that buys, if they're non-seniors and they're two adults in the household at $214 each, if they choose to join, and you're going to do a discount, the discount's going to be a little bit greater this year because it's 10%, versus just, $4. So same thing with seniors, right? If it's 102 and they sign up in the discount period, they're going to pay about $90 instead of $100. So they're going to get a benefit if they sign up during the discount period. Whether
Great.
that brings in more seniors, but that was the goal, was to drive membership. So I wouldn't.
Great.
I'm not.
So
I mean,
that's
Mike,
good.
I know you want to change prices. I would just leave everything where it is, except for the family cap is my thoughts here. And just figure out how to communicate that, right? The question is if they're getting the family cap at $600, do they get $60 off, right, Monica, when they sign up?
I mean, that would be up to you. Yeah, they would get
It's
it.
a 10%.
Theoretically, if it was a 10% discount, they would get the 10% discount on
Right.
the $600. Yeah.
Or they'll pay $540.
Yeah.
And if it's a new family, it's 25 off of that. If it's referred, they get it for $5.
If it's
Great if it's a new
referred
family.
new
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's down
Be-
to 5.
Be terrific if it were a new family.
So, just a question about the new family logistics. Would it be a new family if they had a membership in the past at all? Or would it be a new family that has never been with us at all for anything? I mean, because there are going to be people who come back who have not.
Well, that's our
No,
goal, is to get them to come back, right?
Anybody
Yeah.
came back? If you weren't here last year,
Yeah, I think,
exactly.
I don't want to discriminate if they weren't a member last year for whatever reason.
So it's just if they weren't a member last year, that's fine.
Easy,
I just
just
wanted
need-
clarity from you. Mhm.
And Doug, the only reason why I'm saying, to go up on the senior is because I don't think that group is going to,
They'll notice, they'll
okay.
notice,
Yeah, all right.
they'll notice. All right, so we have a second, we have a discussion. Any other comments? Rob, anything else? I gotta ask. All right, so let me read it back. We've got all rates remain the same. We will implement, though, a family cap rate at $600. We will offer a referral fee of $25 to existing family member who refers a new family member who was not a pool member in 2025. And we will
That could be
call for the
resident or that could be resident or non-resident.
Yeah, I don't, it's fine either way.
Yeah, 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 just yeah.
Yep. And
Oh,
we will
Doug.
offer it.
So what is the non-resident family cap?
I think we just used the top one, that was the $800 one, right?
Yeah,
So
I couldn't see-
$800.
I didn't have my
non-resident.
glasses on, so I couldn't say it, but yeah,
Okay. All right.
that was my thinking.
And then we just need a discount period to end. I do agree with Mr. Blundy that, I mean, most people during the holidays are not necessarily focused on locking in their pool membership. But if we give them
I think
date,
Jan-
whether it's 4 or 6 weeks, whether it's mid-February or whatever, that gives you enough time to communicate it, right? Because there's a lot of noise and messaging that's out in the holiday time, and that's probably, so come beginning in January, you want to be able to get the message out and give yourself enough time to process all of the discounts, so.
Fine,
Do
so
we
why
need
don't you
a
end it-
date now, or just offer a discount window as determined by the park?
Monica, why don't you end it in early February?
Like March 1st.
I
I'm
mean,
not
that's
going
a
to
2-week
March.
difference.
I like
So
I like
I'm not going
March
to March.
1st.
All right, then just leave it at January 31st.
I like March 1st.
I'm not changing it.
What was I don't know what the date was that he wanted.
It was January 31st.
Well, we can compromise. It's 4 weeks. I don't know. Does that 4 weeks does give people enough time to?
I don't think it's effective.
I don't think any one of us knows which one
Yeah.
will be better.
You've had longer periods before.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's just getting cash. Early cash in is helpful for beginning of the year.
So can you compromise, Mr. Brody, and do
I've
mid-February?
compromised multiple times, and every time he keeps asking for March. So I'm good at January 31st.
Well, I can't support that.
Cool. Then we won't do anything, or we'll put it to a vote and we'll see what happens. We only need 3. We don't need 4.
You guys don't want to compromise and do mid-February, huh?
I don't want to do January 31st. If he wants to do February 17th, that's fine.
We have it on the table. This is silly already. Put it to a vote, Doug.
If it makes any difference, I'm not voting for this. I'm opposed to any of the family caps. I don't have a problem with the early things, but the family cap, I don't see why we're reducing income that's coming in when we can't even make our bills now. So if that's going to be a factor of you needing 3 votes, you can count me as a no.
Well, there's the others. That's okay. I said, that's okay. Well, we're all aligned on the fees. I mean, we could not put an end date on the discount period and let Monica decide.
Sounds good.
What's that?
It sounds good. Monica can decide the end period.
Mike Blundy?
No pressure.
Leave the end date up to the director of Park and Rec. You set the fees. You can decide the discount period that works best for her. Are you good with that, Mike Blundy?
I guess no earlier than February 15th.
I'm not going to put a date in there. I'll leave the decision up to the park director.
Okay, then let's vote.
All right, all in favor of the following. Proposed rates remain the same, with the addition of a family cap of residents of $600, non-residents of $800. There will be a discount window with the end date determined by the park director. There will be a new referral fee for new family members with the $25 referral fee that goes to the existing family member and to the $25 to the new family member that was not a member of the pool in the 2025 year. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
All right, we have no vote.
I'll make a motion to do exactly the same as what we just did, but with a discount period that ends no sooner than February 15th.
Opposed. Just move on. Just let the let the board of supervisors give us guidance on how we're going to pay for the pool. I'm with Rob. Don't play games. This is silly. Let the board of supervisors tell us what we need to do.
I'm not playing games, Mike. I am trying to do what I think is best, what I think is the most user-friendly. I'm not, I think it's a
I
mistake.
disagree with you.
I think
I
it's a
disagree with you.
mistake
So
to do it
we're
for,
trying to
to do a
compromise. I
discount
disagree with you.
for-
So I'm
okay,
not,
I disagree with you.
Cool.
I disagree
Well,
with you.
great. So now we'll go to the board of supervisors. We gave it to Monica, so you don't want to do that. So that's fine. We'll go to the board of supervisors. Let them decide.
All right, we can, Monica, I'm trying to get you an answer here, but you seem to be at an impasse at this particular moment.
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
If we don't vote on anything, the fee structure just stays the same, correct?
No, the Board of Supervisors could make a decision.
What's that?
The Board of Supervisors' decision ultimately. So
Okay.
in the end, the Board of Supervisors could make a decision one way or another. It's just your opportunity now to give a recommendation from the park board.
I mean,
To the board.
she's provided them with guidance. They may take exactly what they discussed last night and what we've shared and what she shared and run with what's up here, so.
Okay. Curious. I would make a motion, again, that we keep the things the same, send that to the supervisors with a request that they consider a millage increase for park and recs so that the pool can be funded properly.
Second.
We have a motion now with no rate changes. At all. With a recommendation to
Increase.
increase park and rec millage.
I can't support that. We should have a family discount.
So do we have a vote? Do we have a second? Any other comments on that? Do we already have Mike's comments? I've commented before. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed. So that motion failed.
So Chair, how would you like to proceed? Would you like to move on to another agenda item or we're gonna,
Is there anything else that needs to be voted on tonight?
not on it, I mean, we're not on a deadline for anything other than getting fees together, so.
And I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.